As we've been growing our homestead over the years, we started off with mostly just gardening and smaller animals, mostly chickens. Then we added ducks, and then from there we added some more chickens and more ducks. And then we've gradually been trying to increase and adding a different variety of animals and things that we have here on the homestead. We've added turkeys, and we've also added goats. And then we're also planning to add zebu here really soon. And with each animal that you have to craft areas that are suitable for the animal's needs. And an ongoing project that we've been working on here recently is this area right in here and all through down there. With the overall goal being we're trying to provide more vegetation, pasture areas for our goats and our coming zebu. And my brother-in-law has really been going to town with dropping trees. And after he drops the trees, we come through, bring the goats, and then simultaneously as the goats are working on eating what they eat, we come through, harvest what we need to harvest from those areas, and then after that, we bring in the chickens like we did in this area right here. Almost there. Do your thing. And then after leaving the chickens there for a couple of days, we took them out. And the chickens did a great job here, tilling and scratching and fertilizing behind the goats that were here before them. But before we move on from here, I first need to cap off these stumps here. And some people wonder, why do we leave some of the trunk behind the trees after we have cut them down? And this is why, because they'll produce little shoot-offs here that will have vegetation on it that the goats really love. But we need to keep them managed and under control so that way they don't just grow up again and be tall trees and they block out light and shade for other vegetation from growing. No, but being this small still allows other vegetation to grow around it, yet at the same time produce shoot-offs to where it provides other things that goats really like. All with the goal of providing our animals with what they need.
Going for my walk, I'll be back in a little bit.
All right.
This week, I'm 32 weeks pregnant. 8 more weeks to go. And this morning, I'm feeling pretty good. Which that's kind of going up and down the past week. And one thing that does make me feel better is actually walking and being outside and being in the sun. So I try to do that, you know, a few times a week, and just to make sure I get the good sunlight, because it's been really rainy and dreary. And no, emotionally I'm kind of going up and down a little bit. Some of that's to be expected with being pregnant, but overall right now in this moment I'm feeling pretty good. I get pretty tired by the end of the day, but Selah has really stepped up and has been cooking dinner and cleaning more and doing all the things I can't do, and most everybody has been super helpful, so I can just focus on being healthy and having a healthy pregnancy and healthy baby. See, there we go. He's growing.
So how'd your walk go?
It went really good. It's nice and bright and sunny today, which it hadn't been in like a week and a half. So I was getting all my sun in, and it went really good. Hello.
Hi.
Selah, I just realized that you just happen to have on the Comfort Farms hoodie that you got at the butchery last year. And the butchery is just in a few weeks away. But regretfully, we won't be attending this time. Because somebody,
for obvious reasons,
has
here.
a due date that's pretty close
Yeah.
to when the festival will be. But it's a great festival for those of you who haven't heard of it. It is an annual festival that my farmer friend John Jackson has on his farm each year to honor vets, to bring people together, to connect to one another, and to connect to their food. And one of my favorite things about the event, in addition to connecting to the others, is all the wonderful food that the chefs prepare there. And on the first day of the butchery, they process animals, chickens, ducks, turkeys,
Goats,
sheep, and fish for the butchery.
All right.
Yeah, they look good. Nice.
This past year at the butchery, I got to see firsthand John trying his hand at raising fish on his farm, as well as seeing a demonstration on how to process
Give a little snip, snip. Yep.
So you're taking the gill out?
You're not just taking it out, just cutting it.
Just cutting it.
All that blood flow is going to go through there, right? That's the
like that?
lungs, right? It'd be like, yep, perfect. Lay them flat. Now, follow that eye. Go about a centimeter behind it and slightly up. Yep, and hit him.
Through the brain.
Yep. Wow. And now let's see if it's, that's it. You got it. Sweet. Nicely done. Wow. Perfect.
Come after that for the presentation.
Well, I'm going to actually smoke these for our dish on Sunday.
Okay.
Definitely turn
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
The temperature of the water, does that
Hot.
hot? Just get it hot.
Hot.
And then how much
That's it.
vinegar too?
That's all vinegar.
All
And just a couple
vinegar.
lemons from my
Okay.
tree just for
Nice,
color and
dude.
pictures for you guys.
That is so cool.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. Come on, flip over.
So but they won't do that if they're not fresh.
That's correct. You can even
Okay.
see, like, look at the slime coat coming off his tail right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
That'll all just come right off.
And so that
specific to trout or most fish?
You know what? I think it's specific to trout. Yeah, I've never.
Selah has me reflecting back more and more on the butchery and our time there. And it really is a unique event compared to many of the other conferences and events that we've been to. The butchery is kind of by itself. And as she's got a fire going over there, it makes me think back to each evening during the butchery. Everybody's sitting around by the fires, talking and having a good time and enjoying food together. And then also on Sunday morning there, they have this really special and touching ceremony where everyone's by the bonfire, and it's just a neat thing that they're reflecting on those who have given their lives for others. It's really something special about it. So I know you were cold earlier. You warmed up?
Yes.
So you got a fire going in the solo stove there?
Nope.
Good job. One of the things that I like about the solo stove is you can move it just about anywhere and get a fire going and help you get warmed up. And earlier I talked about the offshoots of the tree stumps and how the goats love to eat the leaves. Well, when you come through and harvest them, we save them, and they make really good kindling and good for fires like here in the solo stove. Well, it's time to get back to work. We currently have been raising our goats primarily for milk, but not this one. He's a male. Definitely not milking him. He's for breeding. But our females here are for milk. However, one day I would like to have some meat goats. And the butchery gave me my first hands-on experience with butchering a goat. First, John selected the goat that he was going to share with everyone at the event. And it was so nice to see the love and care that farmers like John have for their animals, even in their final moments. And then they dispatched the animal as quickly and as calmly as possible and transported it to the processing area. So what are you doing there again, John?
So what I'm doing, this area right here in the middle of its foot is very sensitive. So when you kind of squeeze that and they feel it, they'll kind of jump, you know. And if I'm pinching that, you know, and I don't get any movement, it's pretty safe to say that animal is down.
Okay.
Come on, Henry, I need your help, bud.
I'm sorry, whoever.
All right, let's put it down. Yeah. Can you get this one?
What's your...
We could lower that, I guess. What fun would that be? Get your side first. Drop it. You do that same for me.
Okay. Brian Kazar. Okay, what are you killing?
You never know. I never know.
It's through. It's just not skin. Yeah, just start working the skin back. You can almost get a finger in and hook around that bit.
You're doing great, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I ain't never did none of this.
Flip side, I'm going to say trade sides with me. When you're doing skinning, instead of using the point of the blade, because you got a puncture, use the belly, actually. It's got a real belly on it. That's a skinning knife. So use that nice rounded curved part. And then I got nothing but like membrane. Right. Watch your fingers inside to make a little hole. Got it. So at this point, all you would do would be...
Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you?
You can almost put the blade on the meat. And just get some of that membrane back. Start peeling that back on one side, peel it back on the other side. Just a line and like an inverse banana.
Well, this is what I'm gonna do. Before you get there, I'm gonna do this part.
You do that right there?
On which part? The leg?
You went around the legs.
Yep. Make a cut around just the skin. Don't cut into the meat. You can do that by just pinching and pulling a little bit. Same with you know, you would pinch and pull your own skin. Pull it away from the meat, cut, make a ring around, and then just V-cut it down on the inside of the legs, which is what they're doing now. They'll start just basically working and peeling and massaging that skin back, cutting only where they need to.
Okay.
And then once they get it down to around the privates, the generals and the anus and such, a little cut down the front on just the skin, peel it back, cut around the bung and other holes, peel it down, and then just pull.
Okay.
I did that. So you know, I was doing some stuff.
Like I said, it can be a pain in the butt.
Did it though? Have you ever skinned anything?
I ain't skinned. I ain't did none of this.
Well, you can't say that no more.
Yeah. It is so nice to see people learning things like this for the very first time.
It tastes like beef.
I like it more than that.
Yeah, the pulling. History of photography.
Yeah, but okay, you have to put a disclaimer. You have to put a disclaimer on it. John, pull it down.
Hector, you can probably do it.
That's what you have to use a knife.
Do it on this side.
Do it on that side.
Act like you're doing a squat.
Look, you grab the side and pull all the way down like you're trying to see.
Don't mess with me. I'm just alive.
No.
Literally, I can do it now.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, here we go.
Come on.
All right, squat.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There you go. That's right.
Well, I got a little bit of meat, so it's okay. I did stuff.
When you do the pull, every now and then you're going to get a little bit of meat on it.
Okay.
But most of the animal is covered in this like silver skin, visceral fat, and membrane. And that's what you're cutting. Half the time you can just pull it and peel it down.
Clearly.
When you get some hard parts that are not willing to go, that's when you take your knife and just press the blade against the meat and start getting some of that membrane off. Just you can see how when I pull, it pulls it nice and taut. It doesn't take a lot of cutting to just get that membrane. And that you really only need to do that usually on stubborn parts.
Okay. Is that a particular knife that you use for this?
This is just an old buck knife, skinning knife.
Okay.
It's got a real nice belly to it. It's not going to do well at poking stuff, but it does nice at skinning because you're not going to puncture the meat.
Gotcha.
This one is like a $20 Mora, and this is what I'll use to slide up the gut cavity, do more detail work with the point.
Because that shoulder's not a socket, it floats back there. Contrary to belief.
And a sharp knife is always better. The less pressure and the less force you have to use, the more precise you're going to be, and the less chance you have of hurting yourself.
In addition to that, you can also damage the meat more, right? Okay.
But most accidents, most like times when people cut themselves, it's because they got a dull knife and they're pushing too hard or they're pulling too hard. When all you would have to do is take a break, hone your knife for a few seconds, and then go back to what you were doing. Yeah, just letting the knife do the work.
Going back and forth between using a knife and pulling away, they gradually made progress on the goat. And at this point, I'm jumping at the bit, ready to get in and get my hands involved.
One of these, bunch up the tail there.
Okay, grab here.
Pull back a little bit.
Pull back.
Yep, and that's going to cause some tension. Watch the knife. My hand's on the other side of that. Give it a try, Hector. Just get a roll on the skin. And get a pull. Inside out. I'm just separating the membrane with a sharp tool.
And after working on the goat for some time, we finally got the skinning completed.
I will say I've never cooked goat before, so this is the first for me. And I just kind of took a recipe that I found online and adapted it with what we had. So, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm hoping it's going to turn out good.
I'm sure it's going to be yummy. Even though it's your first time cooking it, it's not our first time having goat before. I can still remember the very first time that I had goat. And you had it too. It was both of us at the same time. It was when we traveled to Jamaica. Before we had kids, we traveled to Jamaica to keep the Feast of Tabernacles, and we had goat. And it is just yummy. And we don't get many opportunities to have goat here in the U.S. Have any of you guys had goat before? let us know in the comment section below, because goat it's something else. I really like it.
So I've always heard that you slow cook goat. And so what I'm doing here is I'm just searing it off in a hot pan, and then I'm adding it to my broth and the veggies over here, and we're gonna cook it low and slow and let it get tender.
Oh boy, I can't wait. Smells good. You guys excited about having some goat since you didn't get to have it at the butchery?
Yeah.
Yep, despite being there for the processing of the goat, there were so many people there. We just happened to miss out on having goat. So I was like, you guys, you don't know what you're missing. We gotta have some goat. So we're having some tonight. Do you know which meat is the most consumed meat in the world? No, it's not goat, even though we're having goat. Even though some people say, and have said for years, that goat has been, even I think, what is the chef, Gordon Ramsay, is that the chef's name? He's one of the ones that has gone on record in saying that. But it's actually, and there's actually some discrepancy on this, but most reports say that poultry is the most consumed meat in the world. But there's a lot of places like the Middle East and other areas that goat is consumed on a regular basis, and that it's actually increasing here in the US, and I'm hoping that it will increase even more. Yummy, yummy.
Yummy, 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 yummy.
So what all do we have in here, ladies? We got some rice with our goat, and some carrots and potatoes and some curry sauce. It just looks and smells yummy. Well, we're gonna chow down on this goat, so I'm gonna have to see you next time. See you later.
This
like
is
it?
great. Yeah, it's great.
Yummy, yummy.